G'day, I'm Ray here and you're watching Moto NZ. It's coming up September. That's about a week away at the time of recording this video. September means spring is literally just around the corner for the Southern Hemisphere, and that's when motorcyclists start getting their bikes out of the garage if they haven't already throughout the winter months. ACC, they have an initiative called Ride Forever, and Ride Forever is right behind Motorcycle Awareness Month, which is September. So, with Motorcycle Awareness Month in mind, how about we run through a few things that you can check on your bike to make sure it's fit and ready to go to get out there for spring and bring you home safely. Now, this is the Suzuki GSX 8S. Obviously, I ride it quite frequently, quite regularly. It hasn't been parked up all winter, but for the purposes of this video, let's pretend that it has been parked up all winter. It hasn't been ridden, it's had a cover over it, and it's been sitting down here in the garage. There's a few things we can check without even getting our hands dirty. The first thing you want to do is obviously uncover it, and you want to roll it around your garage, keeping an eye on the tyres. You want to have a look all the way around the tyres, make sure they've got good tread, make sure they haven't cracked over the winter months. Some people don't actually ride their bikes as much as I do, I'm told, which means that they can be on the same set of tyres for years on end. If your tyres have cracks in them or the tread's getting a bit low, now's the time to book it into your local bike shop or change the tyres yourself. What tyres do you put on a bike? Well, that's something for you to work out. I'm not going to have that debate here today, but that's tyres. The second thing you want to do is check out your brakes. Now, a visual check over your brakes down here is good, all well and good, but what would be a really good idea is for you to check the bike up on some blocks, or even keep it on the ground. It doesn't really matter, but take the brakes off and give them a wee scrub down with maybe a little bit of brake cleaner or something, and make sure the pads have some decent meat on them. If this is a step too far for you, then feel free to take it into your local bike shop and get it checked. While we're talking about things to check, let's check all the lights and make sure everything's working. Left indicator, right indicator. We've got, if I can remember how to do it, high beam and hazards. Make sure you check it at the back as well. Now, I've done a little check by running the engine. It starts. The battery is good. If the battery is not good, then now's the time to get yourself a battery tender, much like this little sucker. Now, this sucker will charge a battery that's not very healthy, but it's also something you can chuck on the battery throughout the winter months when you're not riding it, and it will just keep that battery in tip-top condition, because batteries don't like to go flat. Obviously, that's not an issue with the GSX 8S. It starts perfectly, no dramas there. Next thing we want to do is check the oil. On this bike, we have a little sight glass right here. So what we want to do is stand the bike up vertically and then check the sight glass and see if the oil level is between the two lines. It's pretty good. I'm happy with that, and the oil still looks reasonably clean. It doesn't look jet black. Most motorcycle manufacturers and oil manufacturers recommend you change your oil at least every 12 months, or every, some bikes are 6,000 Ks, some bikes are less, some bikes are up to 10,000 Ks, some bikes are at 14,000 Ks. It's always a good idea, though, to change it at that 12-month mark, or just before you hit those Ks, whichever one comes first. Okay, next thing you want to be checking is the chain. Get right down in there. Make sure the chain isn't rusty. If the chain is rusty, then you're going to have a problem. I have a Scottoiler on this bike, so the chain always has a nice coating of oil on it, and it's generally in good condition. While you're down there, check the chain slack, have a look at your owner's manual, jump online and find it if you haven't got it in physicality. Check the chain slack, adjust if needs be. One more thing to check, once you've done all your other checks down here, is make sure that you've got a decent amount of brake fluid. Now, brake fluid is, I think the term is hygroscopic. It sucks up moisture. So it does need to be replaced every 12 to 18 months, maybe 2 years, depending on how good your system is. So it's not a hard job to bleed your brakes. Again, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, take it down to your local bike shop and get them to do it, and they could probably check your pads while you're at it. But make sure you've got good quality fluid in there. And then once you get out and about, do a few wee stoppies, maybe not no stoppies, but test your brakes, make sure it all works for you. And that's pretty much it. Once you've done all those checks, you can probably get it out of the driveway and just go gently up and down the street, make sure the brakes and everything work. Get yourself acquainted with your bike. If you haven't been on your bike in a few months, then you're going to have to refresh that muscle memory. You're not going to be able to get straight back out there and go 10 tenths over the Rumatakas, are you? No. Take it easy. Get acquainted with your bike. Go easy for the first few roundabouts and the first few corners. You're not going to be winning any awards. But if you haven't been on your bike for a long time, just get on there and go gently to get acquainted with your machine. And then you'll be ready to go for summer. One other thing you want to do once you get out on the road is probably replace some of that fuel. Hopefully you haven't left it with an awful lot of gas, either a full tank or an empty tank. Full tank's going to inhibit rust, but it's also, the fuel can go off. If you put some fuel stabilizer in there, it might be all right. Use that gas or take it out and put it in your lawnmower, put some fresh stuff in, and you should be good to go. So there's some quick tips you can do with your motorbike anytime, but especially if you've had your bike parked up leading into the summer months, or the spring months as the case may be, depending on how warm it is in your neck of the woods. Motorcycle Awareness Month is coming up. It is the month of September. They are encouraging people to wear yellow to support Motorcycle Awareness Month. It's not all about making car drivers aware of motorcyclists. It's also about making us as motorcyclists aware of the things we can do to ensure we make it home at the end of the ride. I'm going to have a few more tips for you as we make our way through the month. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and if you've got any questions, chuck them in the comments box below. Hooroo!